Here we are at Bowtie Cinemas in Chelsea, Manhattan, and a movie you want to watch, Super Duper Alice Cooper. How'd you get the lead role in this movie?
I know, it was great. I auditioned for it, and I don't know, I just got it.
Sir Cooper attended the Tribeca premiere screening of Super Duper Alice Cooper and watched the film alongside hundreds of fans and loved ones.
These documentary filmmakers have made a great, tasty, wonderful look at the early years through 1986. For me, it's like watching him play Captain Hook, because that's not who he is. You know, he dons the sword and the cape and he goes out and he's that swashbuckling dark villain. Then he takes off the hat, puts the sword away, comes home, and he's my amazing husband.
I love Alice. Always respected the guy and started listening to him from day one.
Super Duper Alice Cooper is a movie you want to watch because it reveals a side of the legendary shock rocker Alice Cooper that most of us have never seen before.
People think of Alice Cooper as a cartoon, but he is actually a very influential figure on 20th century and now into 21st century American cultural life.
The 66-year-old rock legend is best known for those classic rock hits, School's Out and I'm 18.
There'd be no Kiss, there'd be no Marilyn Manson, there'd be no Slipknot, there'd be no Lady Gaga if it wasn't for Alice Cooper. And I think people tend to forget that he came before all of those performers.
There'd be no punk rock without Alice Cooper. Johnny Rotten lip-synced to I'm 18 at the jukebox when he auditioned for the Sex Pistols.
Yeah, before there was Lady Gaga, there was Alice Cooper, who revealed one of the highlights of his career was working with John Lennon.
Well, John was great. I mean, John was one of those guys. He always wanted me to get into politics. You know, he was very political. So Elected was his favorite song. He says, this is great, man. You know, he said, we can upset this and this. And I'm going, John, I said, I'm not the political guy. I'm the entertainment guy. So him and Harry Nilsson were always trying to get me into politics, and I just wouldn't buy into it. Now, Paul and I were much more into just the musical part.
Didn't you try to run for mayor?
You know, everybody wanted me to in Arizona, but I didn't have enough indictments to really, you know.
That's true. It gets messy.
No, politics is the most
So messy.
boring thing in the world.
More boring than golf.
Oh, no, golf is exciting next to politics.
It's Cooper's onstage antics, the electric chair, the boa, a guillotine, and that infamous chicken that made Cooper an overnight star. Is that the original chicken footage?
Yes.
Is it really?
That's
one of the first
footage, yeah, and I've never seen it. That was the first time I saw the film.
The film chronicles it all, thanks to never-seen-before archival footage. Everybody that walked out of that film just now said the archival footage is incredible, and it came from your 90-year-old mom. Is that true?
My mom kept everything. She was a hoarder. She still has the band jackets that she made for us when we were in high school.
If it wasn't for his 89-year-old Mama Ella Mae Fournier, this doc may never have been made.
She has all the acetates, from the first records, which are now worth lots of money. But I just keep them. I keep everything.
You keep everything too. Are you sentimental?
I'm not a collector. Really, I'm not. Certain things I'll keep. Certain people that I really like, give me something, I'll keep it. If I have a ring that George Harrison gave me that was, that I'll keep. Those are things that were personal things. But I'm not one of those guys that holds on to things from the old shows. But there's people that just go crazy for that stuff.
Of course
I think Neil's got the original guillotine.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's got one at his house.
Super Duper Alice Cooper takes fans on a visual ride through Cooper's struggle to separate Vince and Alice.
It's a unique film. It's a film that's unlike any other music documentary that's been made.
It's the story of a young man who creates a character, and then that character that he creates threatens to take over and nearly kills him. It was such a powerful character, and it gained so much popularity that it threatened to ruin his life, and he didn't know how to make the separation between who he was off stage and on stage.
What did you learn about Alice Cooper that you didn't know before you started making the film?
Well, I think the big reveal was that Alice was very addicted to crack cocaine in the late 70s and early 80s, and that's something he'd never talked about. He decided with Bernie Taupin, his collaborator, that this was the time to kind of tell that story. I think it's been something that's been hanging on Bernie for a long time, and so he said, if I'm going to do this movie, I want to tell the true story of what really happened. So I think Alice just finally decided, okay, it's time to talk about this and bring it out to the open.
He ended up in a sanitarium for his drinking problem, and then when he came out, he was cured briefly, and then got immersed into freebasing and cocaine, and that's where, and back in the 70s, I think that was a pretty common thing, and you have, Richard Pryor and all these stories about people that have that didn't make it, and this is a redemptive story. You see this, and eventually with his family and with, it's a religious story too in a way, right? Because he finds God, and that's what brings him out of this.
Fans get a glimpse of Cooper's debilitating alcohol and drug addictions, yet the most interesting part of Cooper is the man he's evolved into today. Cooper is a God-fearing man.
He's the son of a preacher, so he was kind of raised in a Christian household, but then sort of went off and did his own thing and created this like baby chopping, guillotine hanging, snake-wearing character that just seems so evil. The thing of it is, he always saw it as like Creature from the Black Lagoon, or like, just a child's horror story. To reconcile that with the Christianity seems so weird to people, the shock rock master of horror with Christianity. But if you think about Jesus hanging off a cross and all that gore dripping from his body, it sort of makes sense.
Both of us being pastors' kids, we knew the truth from an early age, and sometimes you choose to take that truth and maybe not so much go against it, but just sort of carve out your own path. But I think when you come back hard. We have a strong faith, a strong love, and God's been good.
And Alice is happily married to wife Sheryl. You've been married for 38 years?
38 years, yeah. She was 18 when we got married. I was like 27, I think.
The reason we met was I was the first dancer in his show in 1975. I played the ballerina in Welcome to My Nightmare.
He dumped Raquel Welch for you. Is that true?
When you're in love with somebody, you don't see anybody else.
What did you say the first time you saw Alice Cooper?
Honestly, I thought he was the most attractive man I'd ever seen in my life, and I thought, I can't work for him. I mean, he's gorgeous. And slowly we fell in love. And both our fathers ended up as pastors officiating the ceremony, each giving us the vows to say to each other 38 years ago.
Cooper revealed he almost lost Sheryl because of his drug addiction.
We went through everything together, but I mean, it was never, even when we were going to get a divorce, I pulled her aside, went into a room and said, we both know this shouldn't happen, right? And we went, okay, let's call it off.
Do you think every successful relationship goes through a moment where they say, we're going to call this quits?
I think so. I think there's very few that don't have that problem. Now, Sheryl and I never argue. I don't think we've ever had an argument. Neither one of us like conflict at all. But the state that I was in, I was so blind by the whole thing that I didn't really think there was that much wrong, because you're in ecstasy all the time. You're on a high. So you're going, oh, come on, there's nothing wrong. Didn't realize that it had slipped so far.
He laid down the alcohol after our firstborn was 1 year old, and in 32 years hasn't touched a thing since.
The Hall of Famer is a loving and dedicated father to 3 children. Sonora, 21, Dashiell, 28, and Calico, 32, is an actress who also performs live with her father on stage.
Calico is with the improv group, the Groundlings, and her mom taught her how to dance. I mean, she's a scholarship ballerina also, and jazz. Calico is the funniest girl in the world, and when she played all the characters on stage, I'd have to look away from her because she would break my character. Every night she'd do something different that would try to make me laugh, and it was during the most dire moments when somebody was going to get their throat slit. But you can imagine, I've got her there, and I've got the knife to her throat and everything, and she's going, are we going shopping tomorrow? And I go, yes, don't worry about it,
She does basically every dancing role and character portrayal, so she fleshes out the nightmarishness. I mean, she brings those lyrics to life. She creates the scene, and daddy-daughter combination, that's hard to beat.
Breaking news, the Coopers are about to become grandpa and grandma.
We just found out we're expecting. Wait. Grandparents.
So it's going to be Grandpa Cooper?
You know, Pa and Ma sound really old, so I think we're investigating the Hawaiian names for Grandma and Grandpa, which is Tutu, how perfect for me, right, being a ballerina, but I don't know about Cuckoo. Cuckoo is the Hawaiian name for grandfather. I kid you not. Tutu and Cuckoo.
Another interesting fact about Cuckoo Cooper is that he is the founder of a nonprofit organization, Solid Rock, which offers free services in the arts to local teens in Phoenix. The Coopers host an annual celebrity golf tournament that has raised thousands of dollars to benefit the Rock Teen Center. You've gone through this incredible career on stage, and then somehow you like the peace and quiet and boredom of golfing?
It's not boring at all. But if you think of it this way, I play golf in the morning. It's the first thing I do every morning. And golf and Alice never meet. Alice never gets near a golf course. That night, when I put the makeup on and become Alice again, he could care less about golf. He's not thinking about what am I going to play tomorrow. As soon as the show's over, I get back and I go, oh, what we playing tomorrow? Because I go into him pretty strong. He can't afford to think like Vince. He has to think like Alice.
The Cooper clan has no plans to slow down anytime soon. Cuckoo Cooper is gearing up for a worldwide tour with Motley Crue, making stops in Norway, Sweden, and even South Dakota at the Sturgis Buffalo Chip Festival on August 5th, where New York's homegrown rock band Sweet Cyanide will open live for Cooper and the Crue's farewell tour. You're going to be performing this summer in Sturgis, and we know the band Sweet Cyanide that's opening for you guys. Is it exciting for you to still perform?
Oh, are you kidding? I love it. I love it more now than I did then because I know what I'm doing now. I mean, I can actually remember what to do. And I'm in better shape now than I was when I was 30. You know, when I was 25, 30, I was a mess. At 66, I've never been in better shape. I do 2 hours a night, 5 nights a week and feel great.
Super Duper Alice Cooper is in theaters right now.
You know you wanna